This is another episode of the Flight Ringers podcast. I'm David King. That's Dan Spottswood.
It's good to be here. Thank you.
We are professional cartoonists, and we are Legion of Superheroes experts.
Okay, so today we're looking at Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes 239. It was published on February 20th of 1978 with a May cover date. It was written and drawn by Jim Starlin. Dialogue by Paul Levitz. Inked by Joe Rubenstein. Colored by Corey Adams. Lettered by Ben Oda. And edited by Al Milgram.
Who the hell is Corey Adams?
I don't know. Is it a pseudonym?
That's a new one on me.
It's kind of a generic name, though. Maybe it's one that wouldn't stick with you.
Yeah, and I probably don't take too much note of the colorist. I don't usually care about the colorist.
It's got a pretty decent Mike Grill cover. Whenever I see a cover like this, I think of the cartoonist Alex Robinson. So he used to always talk about how he hated any cover that had a character whose back is towards us in the center.
Uh-huh.
And I don't agree with him. Like, I think sometimes it can work really well. I'm not saying this is an exceptional example of that, but
in this case, where it's a silhouette and it's supposed to be a mysterious person,
right,
works.
And it usually is when you're just seeing the back of the character. But
yeah, I wonder if maybe he's talking about, like, just from a staging perspective, like, you know, like in theater, you're not supposed to have somebody with their back to the audience, you know?
Right.
Like, is that what he's talking about?
Maybe. I could ask him if he even remembers. I feel like maybe it's been 20 years since we had that debate.
Where'd you have that debate at? When you were on Ink Panthers?
I hope not. Don't look that up. Twitter, probably Twitter. I think he got a big debate going, and I think lots of people were trying to send him good examples, and he was shooting them all down.
That's pretty crazy. Like, that somebody could start is it okay to have the back to the audience debate on Twitter?
Well, I mean, I think it was a friendly debate, but I think it started between friends because it was like a provocative, declarative statement, like every cover like this sucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one's not great, I guess.
No.
But it's got a bunch of heroes on it. Like, whatever.
It's serviceable.
Yeah.
I guess that's Ultra Boy on the cover, though, right? It is Ultra Boy.
So this darkened figure, he has a huge question mark on his back, and it says, "Alone against his comrades, which legionnaire stands accused of, murder most foul?"
Okay. So it's certainly Ultra Boy, even though he is not the actual mystery character that runs through these.
Right. He's the one who's accused of murder most foul. Yeah, it's just Ultra Boy.
Just Ultra Boy. The weird pant cuffs give him away.
Mm-hmm.
The chiseled pant cuffs.
What are they? That's actually the top of the boot. What do they call it? Is there a name for those kind of boots where they're folded over on the top like pirates wear?
Booties? I don't know. What do pirates call their boots?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like their leggings or something.
Well, but like it goes above the knee, but then that's too uncomfortable, so they fold them down, right? Like when you fold your collar down or something.
Except when they're fishing or something. Deep water.
Yeah, only pirates and superheroes. Like this Colossal Boy boot is kind of the same way. And Captain America. Like, remember when, like, sometimes people draw Captain America and that top folded over part will like really be like moving. They'll show a big shadow under it. Like it's like a big floppy pant leg or something when he runs.
Or sometimes they have them hang really low so that they're almost like bell bottoms.
Oh, yeah. I think Giffen draws them like that a lot of times.
Howard Chaykin does that with a lot of his characters. Like a swashbuckler character, I guess, has the boots low like that. Maybe that's how they're supposed to be worn. I don't know. Any Ren Fair people out there who can clear it up for us? Got that.
Any big pirate fans can set us right on this one.
Hey, I didn't use a British accent.
Please don't. The title of this story is Murder Most Foul.
So our story opens with Ultra Boy arriving at a hotel on his home world of Rembor. We can tell it's kind of a crime-ridden area, but I guess in the context of Legion, it's like a neighborhood is a whole planet. So this is like a crime-ridden planet. The bad part of the universe.
He's walking into the Star Wars cantina or something here, right?
Right. Have a droid leaving.
Yeah. But it's also like there's a Space Needle back there. He's in Seattle.
See any Star Trek ships anywhere? I see a roller coaster.
I don't see. Yeah, is that a roller? That's like a monorail.
Oh,
They have good public transportation on Rimbor.
it's good.
It's Hotel Orion.
He's been asked to meet an old ex of his there named Anne Ridd. This is almost certainly an anagram for Ayn Rand, I think. I really don't know enough about her to know why that name was picked. Like if that fits the story in some way, or if maybe Starlin was just really into Atlas Shrugged at the time.
I think Ayn Rand is notorious for being
a bitch.
No.
No? Okay. Have you ever seen an interview with her?
I have. I'm going a different way, though.
Okay.
Ayn Rand, she's famous for being a beautiful seductress. Like Anne Ride is in this comic.
Right.
I don't get this. Like, if she's his ex, why is he going to meet her? He doesn't really mention that she gave him a reason to come and meet her. He's like, I had some days off and she asked to meet me. So is it a booty call or what?
Yeah, a little something on the side.
Yeah. Did he tell Phantom Girl that he's going?
Hell to the no. He's got a different lady on every home world, every world. But she's changed quite a bit over the years. Because we see that she was a quote unquote good girl back when he knew her. But now I'm tempted to say that they are alluding that she might be a prostitute, but I said the exact same thing about his last girlfriend when we were doing issue 2 of volume 4.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe to my naive Midwestern eyes, a lot of girls in superhero comics look like prostitutes. I don't know. But she seems to be wearing lingerie and has a bong.
Yeah, I mean, she has all the stereotypical visual cues that she's in the seedy, disgusting sex industry.
Right.
But we know today that there's nothing wrong with being a sex worker.
Absolutely
Lots
not.
of people do it. You got to make ends meet. If you're willing to do it, it's your choice. But yeah, her change is mainly that she dresses provocatively. I mean, actually, in the flashback here, she's kind of in a bikini anyway. But yeah, she's got her fishnet stockings. She has gigantic eyeshadow around her eyes. And she says, I did whatever I had to do.
Including selling you out.
She seems like she's ready to go into detail. Like he doesn't even ask. And she's like, no, it was rough here. I had to do a lot of things. I did what I had to do. I had to forget my dignity and I had to do everything that I never said I would do. And he's like, all right, what? Okay. I just said hi.
Do you think some of it is possibly on him? Like he left her behind or he wasn't there to like keep the neighborhood clean?
I don't know. I don't know that that was ever his responsibility as a gang member on Rimbor.
Right.
But yeah, maybe Jim Starlin's trying to allude to that in the storytelling.
Well, she's kind of like, things have changed a lot since you left.
Yeah. I didn't really get that reading it today that he might have left her high and dry and she had to, whatever, he stole all her money and she had to become a prostitute to feed her destitute parents or anything like that.
Right.
It's kind of a weird sequence. Like she talks kind of seductive and sexy to him.
Mm-hmm.
But then she's like, yeah, I had to sell you out.
It's definitely a little too like truncated. She just says hi to him basically and gets shot. Like it happened so fast.
If this were a movie, he would have gone back and it would have been like, I'm with somebody new now. And she's like, you left me and I didn't have anything. And then, then whatever, that conversation will turn into those two having sex. And then the next day she'll be like, by the way, I couldn't help it. I had to sell you out. And then somebody will jump out and try and kill him and kill her.
Well, that probably would have been a more entertaining route to go.
Yeah, but I don't think they could. I don't think you can show sex in this comic book.
I don't know.
Yeah, she doesn't last too long.
A mystery hooded figure. Wait a minute. What page are we on?
Come on.
Okay. So Ultra Boy is taken out by some kind of energy weapon, knocked unconscious by a mysterious hooded figure who quickly kills off Ayn Rand here. Ayn Rand. What's her name? I keep remembering her as Ayn Rand.
Ayn Rand.
If you've ever read any Ayn Rand, you'd want to shoot her too.
Actually, I want to go back.
Sure.
Like there's this kind of cinematic type of intercut panel layout stuff here that you'll almost don't even notice just because it's a little murky for a 70s comic book. Where she's talking to Ultra Boy and kind of I don't know what she's doing, breaking down his defenses, explaining how hard her life was and how she had to become a person she never thought she would be, I guess, or whatever. Right. I don't know. I don't think she's a prostitute. I don't know what she might be doing. She might just be selling black market nylon stockings or something. But there's these intercut things of a gun being pointed at Ultra Boy, just trying to build up the suspense. And there's some mysterious eyes, and the gun fires again at the end of this page. And then it gets shot.
It feels cinematic. It feels like the opening of an episode of Columbo or something, like
totally.
We're setting up a murder mystery.
I think the first 3 or 4 pages of this is the most thought out.
I wanted to ask you, do the pages look better on newsprint? Like, especially like her eyeliner?
Oh, I don't know.
Because it looks really weird on the reprint, and the online version I looked at, which is newsprint, they weren't great scans. I think I've noticed before, like at least in the reprints, these like stipply textures, which he seems to use a lot of, they don't look really great on the reproductions. Like if you go to, I don't know, page 237.
Huh, okay. Well, to me, it looks better in the reprint book.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the line work is identical, I think. Like this kind of grainy, it must be like a paste down tone, right?
Right. What about the next page over? Right there.
Yeah, to me, that grainy stippling stuff looks the same.
Okay. I just assumed it didn't look good in the reprint. Maybe it just kind of looks funny either way. I mean, in some places, it's not so bad. It looks kind of weird to me in this part where he's coming to.
Yeah, to me, it looks really close to the newsprint old comic book, like all the line work does. But that might mean that it looks bad, like if they had the original, they might have a better looking piece of art, or they could control how dark these dots are on the tones.
Right.
But maybe all they had was like when I fool around and do it, and I take all the color out of the thing, and they do it that way. I don't know.
It could be. I mean, I know he sold a lot of his artwork from this period.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they get. Like, I think they have film or whatever of maybe the last 40 years worth of comics. I'm not sure. But to me, this is pretty close fidelity to the line work in the comic book. Just of these couple of pages I looked at.
Right. So where were we? Page 4?
Yeah, he's just gotten blasted by the bad guy. And then Ayn Rand gets it. I think it's kind of a storytelling goof maybe, that the non-fatal blast to Ultra Boy gets more page time than the murdering blast of Ayn Rand down here at the bottom, which is like almost a footnote.
Maybe.
She's a nobody. I get that.
I think they're also it's misleading intentionally so, like to look like Ultra Boy's getting murdered himself.
I guess so. I mean, that's what we're supposed to think. But then by the end of the page, you know that he's not dead, I think.
Right.
So whatever.
All right. So Joe wakes up in a parked cruiser that is not his, and he doesn't know where he is. He just knows he's not on Rimbor anymore, and that his flight ring is missing.
There's a setup to a very interesting mystery here.
Right. Just noir. It's just fit the criteria. Yeah.
Kinda, yeah. It's getting there. Now he's going to be a man on the run, like an Alfred Hitchcock movie.
Yeah. So then his pals from the Legion arrive, and he, at least at first, thinks they're there to rescue him, but in fact, they're there to arrest him. We also see Marla.
Yeah, I haven't seen Marla in a while.
Yeah, I don't know. He may not. This might be his first or his second appearance. I don't know if he showed up at all between his first appearance and this. Do you know?
But I feel like he was around maybe a couple of times between when he helped Ultra Boy get into the Legion and this issue. That's a lot of years. He must have been in it.
He's apparently been retired. I don't think he was ever that good at his job. I mean, as adult advisor, we almost never saw him around.
Well, and when you read him in this issue, he's like a shitty adult. He's not that great, you know. Like he's ready to lock up Ultra Boy and throw away the key when he was like fucking Ultra Boy's biggest proponent and mentor. Wore the same shirt, all that stuff.
Exactly.
They is it on this page? I think it's on the next page where they say the Marla's like been doing like getting enhanced, like youth enhancements or something, getting de-aged. Like he's been retired and that he's gone through some surgery to look younger now, or maybe actually become younger. I don't know which.
Right. And it's funny because on this first page, we see him, page 7. He's kind of wrinkly and gaunt. But then after that's mentioned, when he shows up later, he's very fresh faced. By the time you get to like page 19, he has a young man's face. So it's like maybe the guy inking it. So he read the script and goes, "Oh, he's supposed to be young."
I mean, he doesn't look too old here, and he looks like he's in good shape. But yeah, it's like a whatever, a 90s Clint Eastwood kind of look, not like he's a young guy. Yeah, would you say 19?
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like Kent McCord now. Totally different guy. That's kind of crazy.
I was just watching some Kent McCord this evening. He wasn't in it very much, though. It was like a pilot for another series, so he was only in it at the beginning.
I saw him in the Run Ronnie Run. I watched that this week, the Mr. Show movie.
He's in that?
He's in it for a second at the end. He plays like the host of Unsolved Mysteries, or like a what was the show that William Shatner was on, the Rescue 911? Is that what it's called? Yeah, like that kind of host, you know, where he stands there and just looks like an authority, you know.
Right. I wanted that movie to be good so badly.
But yeah, weren't too many laughs in it. I'd never seen it before.
The original sketches are really funny.
No, Mr. Show is hilarious. It's like the funniest thing. And this movie is just kind of...
So, back to the 30th century.
The Legionnaires show up, and they're going to fucking arrest Ultra Boy for murder. He doesn't know it. He's blissfully unaware that he's committed a murder. Ayn
Rand is dead, and she has burns that are consistent with flash vision. Burns. And his ring was found there.
Yeah, it was on her body, which is weird. It's as if Ultra Boy secretly went to meet his ex and got engaged to her or something. And she's a hooker. Right. It's like reading between the lines. There's something very strange going on here. Like, I think on the next page, when Phantom Girl is so supportive of him.
Right. If anything, she should be the most suspicious.
Exactly. It's like, well, how come you went to see this blonde harlot sex worker, disgusting
Right.
dregs of humanity, and didn't tell me, and you gave her your ring. I thought you loved me,
She
dude.
tried to extort money from him. She was going to tell the Legion, tell
Mhm.
Phantom Girl, so he blasted her.
Yeah. I mean, the truth is doesn't have a remotely good explanation, I don't think, for why he even went to see her. You
Right.
know? Like if one of my millions of gorgeous exes got in touch with me and I went out and I didn't tell my wife that I met her,
Mm-hmm.
that would be very bad. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if Cindy Crawford calls me up
Yeah.
and is
Yeah.
like, David, I want to see you. Oh, no reason. I would have to
Yeah.
be like, sorry, Cindy, I'm with somebody else now. It's over between us. You had your chance with this.
You don't want to. You don't want to answer that phone call. You don't want to show up. There might be like some 14-year-old boy there that looks a little bit like David.
What? Oh, like the David looking Cindy Crawford sex slave?
like she called you because she had a child with you and you're
I thought.
financially responsible.
Oh, yeah. Cindy Crawford's trying to get money out of me.
Right. Right. You need to raise your son.
I thought you meant she had gotten like a look-alike
No,
adolescent
no,
David to
no.
like the way I looked when we first started going
Right.
out when I was 17.
Yeah. If a girl you haven't heard from for 10 years or so calls you, it's not going to be a good call.
Right.
It's going to be, you're responsible for this child. Oh, I just found out I have something. I thought I'd let you know.
Oh, damn. Yeah. Yorgian fever.
Right.
Yeah, he said he hadn't heard from her since before he was a Legionnaire.
Mm-hmm.
That was a decade ago, right? Something like that, 10 years
Right.
ago.
Right.
When I mean, I guess she was 16. Now she's 27, and I guess she's on the skids and needs some money. But
She
he's
was
like,
probably underage back then, knowing Ultra Boy, but still.
"Oh, you think like he was 17 and she was 13? Ugh,
Well, maybe not
Ultra Boy,
13.
you pig! You're disgusting.
Maybe not 13. Come on.
Pedophile.
Well, on Brawl, 14.
This ain't Brawl. This is Rimbor.
Right.
Actually, on Rimbor, nothing is a crime, right?
Right. Is that true?
I don't know. It's all ruled by gangs and
Right.
crooked companies and stuff.
Right.
Like if they can sell you beer, you're legal, right? If you got the money, you're legal.
Are we on? What page are we on now, sir?
I don't know. Not 9 on 8. On this page, he's not going to really give any defense for himself, and they shackle him up. Phantom Girl's kind of saying whatever she's trying to comfort him. Yeah, she believes him, but he's like, "I'm leaving. I'm not going to get arrested by you guys. I'm out of here."
Right. And then he proceeds to brutalize all of his friends.
Mm-hmm.
He manages to whip the entire team's ass, but while he probably feels pretty good about it, it's probably because they didn't expect him to like punch Dawnstar in the back so badly that she's out of commission for the entire issue, and he does not hold back on them, where they're probably holding back on him.
Yeah, he takes out Colossal Boy, Sun Boy, Starboy in the next page.
Starboy, he grabs a big rock and hits him on the head with it. Like he could have easily murdered him right there.
Then I guess he takes out Superboy and Mon-El too.
Right. That's actually, I think that's maybe the funnest page in this whole book. I kind of like that.
He's outrunning them with his super flight or I guess it's his ultra flying power.
Yeah, I don't know what you call it, like a wild goose chase or something. He's mixed them up to the point where they crash into one another.
Yeah.
It's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting and fast. You know, like a lot of these kind of things, like they are incapable of doing like a fast-paced kind of chase thing.
Right.
And I mean this one, it's just kind of like this, like you have to it's kind of color coded. You follow the stripe for Mon-El and the stripe for Superboy.
Well, right.
And
but
they
it's
wind
also
up crashing into each other.
It's also like a good use of the form. I mean, in the way that it's like something you couldn't do in film. because you're seeing their tracks. You can trace their tracks, sort of like the Bill Keane strips with the dotted pathways.
Yeah, it goes from being like yeah, kind of like an illustrated kind of narrative to just a straight up diagram for this little bit right here until the climax where they crash into each other.
Right.
This is like Chris Ware. It's wearing.
Right. I like the bit where he says something to the effect of I would be like, the big shit, the big powerful guy, except these two guys who are way more powerful than me are on the team. Like in any other circumstance, he would be considered like an A-list hero, but he happens to be on the team Superboy and Mon-El are on, so he's always like third fiddle to them.
Yeah, it says he's choosing to hang around two of the very few men who are still more powerful than he is. But he's whatever. He has the ability to take them out,
right?
Because they're lunkheads. They think they're so hot,
right? So after he's basically taken out all of the team except for Shady and Tanya. How do you say that one?
Phantom Girl.
Phantom Girl.
I think her name is Tinya. Or it's either Tinya or Tiny A.
Tiny A.
Yo, Tiny A.
Apparently Shady is also somewhat sympathetic to him, so he doesn't smash her head with a big rock or anything. He just steals their ship and leaves.
Yeah, they don't put up too much of a resistance to him getting away.
Right.
Obviously, because Phantom Girl is his girlfriend and she believes him for some reason. Believes that he wasn't cheating on her and didn't murder someone. Right. And then, Shadowlass is like,
I know what it's like to not be trusted.
Whatever. He would kill me.
Right. Then we get, this is kind of a, I don't know, it just seems like kind of a corny scene. They're all waking up like, how did we get our asses kicked by that idiot? And they're all arguing and blaming it on one another.
Well, yeah, the only one who is like, it's Timberwolf. He's like, yeah, I taught him how to do that.
Right.
How to kick all your asses. And so he's very pleased with himself and he like puffs up his chest and stuff in his panel.
Right. It's a good trick. It's a good thing I taught him how to paralyze the one character who could track him down instantly.
I mean, that's pretty smart thinking. He took out Dawnstar first.
But he's fighting pretty dirty. I mean, what did he punch her in the back?
No, he did some kind of back. He did some kind of, he calls it a nerve block. It's some kind of like Vulcan
thing,
pinch
right?
thing.
Before he stole their Enterprise.
Yeah.
Right.
They're all just pissed that they have to fly back home.
Right. In the shitty ship.
And then Ultra Boy blows up their Enterprise. He doesn't give a fuck.
Right.
He's like, Brand is rich. He can buy another one. He goes back to Rimbor to start digging into the mystery of who framed him.
Incognito is some kind of pirate fellow.
It's a Undertaker's costume. I guess there's a uniform for Undertakers who rove around Rimbor.
With a skull belt buckle.
Yeah, the skull belt buckle.
If your grandma passes away, you call this guy to show up and pick him up.
Yeah. Isn't that the first person you want to see? Like, hey, the guy dressed like the Grim Reaper come on Earth, they want to comfort you. But up there, it's like they want to memento mori you.
And he makes use of one of their stashes of like clothes and alternative IDs and stuff that they strategically Brand has placed all over the universe, right?
Yeah, never heard about that. We were just talking about the infinite number of spacefaring first aid kits that the Legion has access to.
It's the same
idea.
Premise.
Yeah.
Well, it says here though, I don't remember it as retold last issue, so it's kind of a reference to the reprint from last month, I think.
He's talking about how the team was outlawed at one point, so they started doing these hiding disguises, I don't know, conveniently wherever you need them.
Right. They want to make a little reference to the reprint fill-in issue to make it feel meaningful that they did that.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of those, like their footnotes throughout to earlier stories, and they're pretty good. Like they actually kind of enrich what's happening in this issue.
Right.
Instead of just like, I don't know, a lot of times it's, who is this character? Oh, we first saw him back 20 issues ago. This is a lot. The ones in this issue sort of elaborate. I don't know. It's a continuation of that old stuff instead of just like, in case you forgot, that's who this guy is.
Right. I've noticed like the older, I never noticed this until yesterday, basically, but the older DCs are not as good as the older Marvels at, they don't reference issue numbers. Sometimes in the box it'll mention some previous adventures something happened in, but they don't bother putting the number. But I think that changed by the 80s. Like the Marvel books are always like, you can't make it a page without it referring to telling you 3 other issues you need to read to know what's going on. It tells you exactly which ones to check. Like Stan's little notes.
Uh-huh. How would they do it in a DC book? Like they would just put and say this happened already and not put the number?
Well,
how would that work?
I'm not positive on this, but I'm not sure they were doing it until they saw Stan doing it and they started doing it. Like, I'm not sure if they had those boxes referring back to previous issues at all.
Oh, yeah, I guess I never really thought about it.
I think they'd probably, if anything, they'd spend like 3 panels having Kurt Swan redraw that adventure encapsulated real quick, maybe. But
that kind of makes sense in a way.
Right.
Or in the days when there wasn't really a fandom collector mentality, really, like you couldn't count on your audience having read any of the other ones or having access to any of the old ones.
Well, in this issue, I see like just a page later, like Al mentions Superboy 98. So they are mentioning issue numbers in this one, but a lot of the earlier DC ones, you're kind of on your own where to find that story they're referring back to.
Ultra Boy has a safe house that he's going to go to. It's actually his buddy's apartment or something like that.
He happens to be out of town. It's kind of a cool drawing of Ultra Boy there with his, I don't know how clearly you can see his eyes on the newsprint, but his eyes are sort of.
Oh, yeah, right here.
Right. He's got the Orco thing going on.
Yeah, and like his Saturday Night Fever walk, kind of.
Yeah.
That fist is way out in front of him.
For sure.
In the light of day, Rimbor doesn't look too bad.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he gets to a safe house, and Chameleon Boy's already there waiting on him.
I know. And this is such a missed opportunity. Like, don't you feel like that couch that he's sitting on should have been Chameleon Boy?
Yes. Million times, yes. Like, I had to flip back, and I'm like, oh, yeah, they put the corner of this couch that becomes Chameleon Boy back here. But, like, yeah, why does he sit down on him? That's so stupid.
Why doesn't he just hear, like, a muffled voice, get off me, or something like that?
Yeah,
it almost seems like maybe it was written that way, and maybe the editor's like, no, that's too weird. Put another couch next to that couch.
I don't know. It's not weird at all. I think Al Milgrom has a sense of humor. He wouldn't have done that.
Right.
Yeah, I think somebody must have just thought like, oh, that's too silly. And so they didn't do it.
Right.
But when you have that, like if you wrote that into the story, like, oh, Chameleon Boy is disguised as a couch, you're silly not to have somebody sit on him, you know? Like that's, to have him be disguised as anything else then if you don't want somebody to sit on the couch. Give me a break. Right.
And he's not standing next to the couch. He's on a couch. So why... It would be the perfect.
Yeah, he's Ultra Boy gets into this apartment. He's despondent. He's tired. He plops down on this couch and hangs his head, you know. And then, oops, it's his buddy turns into the couch.
Right.
And the couch comes out from under him or something. You know, it could have been great.
Right. Exactly. So,
stupid. They fucked up. Jim Starlin. Hang up your pencil. Turn in your cartoonist cred.
Missed opportunity. No wonder he changed his name.
Maybe it's Paul. You know what? Paul Levitz is responsible for this. Jim Starlin. Like when we read the issue 250, that dude is an old-fashioned Bigfoot newspaper style cartoonist.
Yes.
He would have done that, but then somebody said, don't do it. And he was like, all right. Paul Levitz.
It's too corny.
Like of all the, like Paul Levitz does corny stuff, but then he has instincts that say, don't do it funny.
Chameleon Boy, at least early on, was sort of a comedic character very often. And that is evident even here when he's turning from the couch to the guy. It's still a little silly. But then he switches into his Jack Webb mode, like immediately, which I don't know if this is the first time we've seen him behave this way, but he's like the just the facts man, like he's the super detective, the espionage squad guy. Did that start sooner?
I don't know when that espionage stuff really started. I think it had to have been earlier than this because he's like, I'm the leader of the espionage squad.
Right.
But I think Starlin does a pretty good job of being true to the old time stuff and all the developments that the characters go through. Like somebody said, hey, Jim Starlin, you want to write some Legion of Superheroes comics? And he, if he wasn't very excited, he at least did the research and knew all this stuff. That's why there's footnotes in here, because he's picking up stories, breadcrumbs from way back and putting them in here and hooking up to them. But then, like there's somebody else's instinct, probably Paul's, to dialogue in this example, Chameleon Boy as this more serious guy, this Jack Webb guy. He's a detective. He's not impish.
I'm mostly okay with it, but just feel like Levitz didn't put a lot of work into some of the rationales, the explanations. Chameleon Boy, his supposed deductive reasoning several times through here is very hard to follow.
Like on this page specifically, when he explains that he knew Ultra Boy would come here because Chameleon Boy, as the leader of the espionage squad, he's got all the dirt on all his teammates, and he's had it for a long time. So if you disappear, Chameleon Boy is going to know where you're at. It seems a little far-fetched, that explanation. Like, why would he spy on everybody? If you knew one of your teammates was spying on you, would you maybe just kick him out? Because, like, I don't know, like, how about my own privacy, dude? Does Chameleon Boy know about all Ultra Boy's exes?
I don't know. I guess he makes his business to know, huh?
It makes me wonder this, like, where it stops. Like, it's convenient for him to say, oh, yeah, I knew that you would come to this place because I know all the places you would go to, but I failed to know that you were going to go and meet your ex, and I failed to catch that there was a Legionnaire who, to spoil this issue, another Legionnaire who was going to follow you and frame you for a crime. I wasn't keeping track of that, but this other stuff, I'll do that.
Chameleon Boy fails to mention that during the previous 17 pages, he had checked 11 other places for Ultra Boy. He wasn't there.
Well, yeah, he's not going to come clean about that. He wants he's got to keep up some illusions.
It's also a little odd knowing what we know now and 5 years later about his close relationship with Marla through his dad. He doesn't seem to know him very well or trust him at all here. Like, he thinks it's got to be this guy.
Well, it's really clumsily set up Marla as red herring from the beginning, because he's all angry and he's all mad. Right. We know that eventually Marla is Chameleon Boy's number one employee and they're buddies or whatever. But yeah, the construction of the mystery in this one makes you want to look at Marla. Like, if this was a Agatha Christie story, or if it was like a Philip Marlowe movie or something, like, or book. Those are books too, I guess. There's some movies.
Marla's like the obvious, like, he's the bully character or something, and you're like, he's the guy who did it. But in fact, he is not.
Yeah, in those Marlowe stories, or in a lot of these detective things, it's like it sets it up, and there's like 20 people set up who might have done this frame up in this murder, and the audience doesn't know any of them. In this comic, we only have, like, it's a bigger issue. It's 38 pages or whatever. They really only managed to do it with like one or two people about who actually framed up, and they really set up Marla as like, oh yeah, like the 8-year-old reading this is like, yeah, this Marla guy must have done it,
right? This guy showed up one time before, fairly expendable character,
right? And so naturally you have to have Chameleon Boy be suspicious of that guy, even though, I guess Marla, I don't know if back then Marla's working for RJ Brand or not, or if he's just the coach of the Legion of Superheroes who takes the night off to hang out with the Legionnaires once a week.
Yeah, I don't know how much it is established at this point. I mean, it's easy to draw that conclusion though, because RJ put the Legion together, right? He's bankrolling it.
Right.
And we know Marla had an official position within the organization as the liaison or whatever he was.
Oh, the Legion chaperone or the
adult advisor.
That's right, the adult advisor.
Right. So it would make sense. He would be working for RJ probably. I know that is explicitly spelled out by the time we get to like the secret history of the Legion.
Oh, really? That's after this? Secrets of the Legion?
Yeah, that's like the early 80s, like 82, 83.
Right, like this issue is reprinted in this book, and then Secrets of the Legion is in this book because this is the cover of it.
Oh, that's right, it is. I must have blocked that out.
And so this is volume 1, and there's a volume 2 of this, and this is the volume 1 of the next batch, I guess. Mm-hmm. Technically volume 3, 1, 2, 3, Before the Darkness, volume 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how there's like 10 issues in one of these hardcovers. So like 20 months later, a couple of years later is when Secrets of the Legion shows up, and they bring back Marla. I bet Marla has no more appearances after this issue until Secrets of the Legion, maybe.
Maybe. You're probably right.
Yeah. Chameleon Boy kind of questions Ultra Boy in his safe house. He doesn't really put Ultra Boy's mind at ease, but he's not going to haul in Ultra Boy. Mm-hmm. And I think he says it's because I couldn't. Is that what his explanation is? Like, you would kill me or you would beat me up. So the best thing for you to do is be free.
I think Chameleon Boy just tells Ultra Boy, you need to just run, get lost. I work alone. Doesn't he?
I guess
like,
so.
I will solve this mystery. You just need to run.
Oh, yeah. It says one long story later. Ultra Boy tells them all the details and says, "Do you believe me, Chameleon Boy?" Chameleon Boy says, "No, I never believe anything anybody says." Damn, what a hard ass.
It's a nasty habit.
Believing.
Well, as he points out, if he followed the facts, then he'd have to believe that Ultra Boy was the bad guy. So now do you understand why I don't like to believe?
I don't quite understand still.
Yeah, it doesn't quite make sense.
Yeah. Chameleon Boy lets him go.
We get to see Cosmic Boy for one panel, right? He just basically shows up to bring them a ship that is guaranteed to help them, like a really fast ship, I guess.
I don't think it's even a fast ship. It's just a ship. It's just a bigger one. Do they say it's fast? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something special about this ship, though, right?
On this panel, it says, elsewhere, 2 starships rendezvous, docking in an age-old maneuver.
Beginning the gathering of a posse. The posse's in effect on Broadway.
Here's Superboy. He's the white guy. Makes a lot of money.
We go all over the place on this program, ladies and gentlemen. So what page are we on?
Get to the end of this comic?
We should. We're getting there.
We got to page 19. We're right in the middle of this issue. The staples are showing.
So we're right in the middle? Son of a bitch. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to have to plow through this.
We will. We'll make it. So on board the ship, Superboy confronts Marla about his being so gung-ho to catch his own friend and protege. Marla says he's worried Joe will be an excuse for anti-Legion factions in the United Planets to, I don't know, defund or dismantle the Legion. But there seems to be the way they're writing him here, at least, there seems to be a little ego involved too. Like, this is his guy, and it makes him look bad.
Yeah, I guess they've introduced some vanity into Marla,
right?
And some weird personal pride issues into Marla that, I mean, I'm sure he was never really developed at all before, but like
Right.
now this is Marla. He's like gets upset about his reputation and about his looks and shit. Like he's trying to get
Right.
younger. It's really strange what Jim Starlin's take on Marla is. I mean, it's a
Right.
good one. Like I don't know that there's been too many characters like this. I don't think this continues either past this issue, but I don't know.
No. I mean, maybe he's having a midlife crisis. I don't know.
Could be,
He
yeah.
seems different by the 80s.
I mean, for a guy who has no personal life that we know about, okay, he's going through a midlife crisis, but I don't know. You got to give us a little more, but
Right.
he also is now looking like Kent McCord from
Right.
1988.
A very off model Superboy there in the lower right hand corner.
This is like a Ditko Superboy or something.
It looks like the image got distorted or something. But I think it's kind of a hard angle probably to draw faces.
No,
I wouldn't know. I don't draw faces like that.
for dudes like Jim Starlin and Joe Rubinstein, this is not a hard angle to draw. I don't know what they thought or what happened. This is not like the front 3/4. Come on.
But he is kind of looking up. He's got the bottom of the nose, right? Aren't they always complaining about how hard that is to draw?
I don't know.
I mean, to me, I don't know why they're having such a tough time. All you do, draw a circle, put 2 dots. Right.
Yeah, like a little sideways V for the nose. Yeah,
right,
you got
right.
it. Draw just
Works
like squiggle your brush for the hair.
Right.
It's a person.
If they are like shocked or something, you can kind of put quotation marks around their eyes.
I usually draw like 2 kind of squash circles, kind of side by side for the eyes, and then I put the pupils, one pupil at the top of that eyeball, and the other pupil at the bottom of the next eyeball.
Oh yeah,
that's funny. It's instant funniness, right there.
Right.
But yeah, it looks like this should not be a difficult face to draw for a seasoned superhero comics pairing like Jim Starlin and Joe Rubinstein. They've done hundreds of comic pages, but also this pose looks a little weird.
Right.
This one of Chameleon Boy looks very weird.
Yeah.
I guess you see his ear here. Maybe I thought that was the side of his head. His ear.
Right.
So maybe, I don't know, maybe Jim Starlin is actually not quite on the ball with stuff that's besides straight on profile. I don't know.
Something you see a little of in here that I like a lot about the 70s issues is Superboy. He sort of like goes off on a tangent in the Legion where he sort of develops into a slightly different character than he is in his solo comic. Like it's almost like they forget he's from the 20th century in a lot of these stories. He seems very, very familiar with the 30th century. There's almost no mention of him traveling back and forth. In this one, you see him kind of getting in Marla's face in a way that I can't really picture like the Kurt Swan Superboy ever doing.
Do you suppose that's because, like at this point, roughly half or a third of his life happened in the 30th century? I mean, I don't know when that story happened where they put the post hypnotic suggestion where he forgets everything that happened in the 30th century. I don't know if that had happened yet. That's in like 260 or something. I don't know when. Some anniversary issue.
Well, his mind is supposedly being wiped or something every time he goes back by Saturn Girl, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But
somewhere along the line,
he gets it back every time. They don't have to reintroduce them every issue. So that would be kind of funny.
It's as if in the 30th century, he has one set of traits and a personality that's maybe different from whatever he lives with back in the 1930s of Smallville, USA.
Right.
Like back in those days, he's very deferential to his parents. He's a nice guy. But here in the United States, here in the 30th century, he will throw his weight around and he'll tell off some fucking adult.
Right.
I don't know. Crazy.
And there are a few issues. I think they're Levitt's Rel issues, maybe Earth War. There's a few issues where he's kind of the de facto leader in a couple of the issues, and he's dealing with like the diplomats and doing all the talking for the team, and he seems very versed in the laws and diplomacy of that time. And there are some scenes where the Legionnaires are fighting in space, and he's commanding them to use certain formations, like not command, but he's just
right.
Not what you'd think of Superboy doing. But
he's the supreme military strategist on the team, Superboy.
Yeah, it's like he's accumulated a lot of 30th century experience, I guess.
Yeah.
But I like that because I really like Superman a lot, but I like Superboy and I like Superboy a lot, but I kind of like them as separate characters. That story where he got killed off, I hate that they killed him off, but I like that they untethered him from Superman, like that he had his own story.
I never think of Superboy and Superman as being the same person,
right?
At all, right? It's like
it wasn't Superboy in the Christopher Reeve movie.
Yeah, right. Maybe that's what it is. It's
right,
like the Superman of the modern day stories in Metropolis. Like that's not the same person,
right?
As Superboy, who's flying around and having adventures in Smallville and the 30th century. Mm-hmm. Even though they want us to believe that, I never think of them as that. I never look at a Superboy and be like, oh, he's going to grow up to be Superman, and
right.
He would do X thing, or he'll develop these things to become this guy. I never think about it. He's like a totally different person.
Right, I agree.
But speaking of the leader, you said the Superboy is kind of the de facto leader for a little bit. Who's the leader in this issue? Don't know, right?
No, isn't Matter Eater Lad in charge this issue? I'm pretty sure.
I think maybe Tyrock is the leader in this one.
I know it's Wildfire, right? It's either Wildfire or Saturn Girl.
Probably Saturn Girl. Since she's not in this issue, it's probably Saturn Girl.
Right. They could have used her in this issue, which is probably why she's not here.
Oh yeah, she totally could have found out who the bad guy was right away, right?
Right. And she'd know if he was telling the truth or not.
Yeah. Instead, we need a brilliant detective,
right.
the Jack Webb version of Chameleon Boy, to do some old-fashioned...
I'm a space cop. That's my job. I wear a flight ring.
I wear a flight ring. The boss is Wildfire. My partner, Prody 2. I was working the homicide beat out of Rimbor. My name's Chameleon Boy. I carry a badge.
I've been in the shape of the couch for the last 4 days. Dun, dun, dun. All right, Paige. We're going to get there. We got to go through all the old TV shows on the way. Adam 12, Highway Patrol, Dragnet, and Andy Griffith.
All the cop shows we love.
Yeah.
I flipped the page over to page 20 now.
Okay, we're on page 20 now.
I mean, we could flip some more. It doesn't matter.
No. Wildfire determines that the only place in the whole universe that Ultra Boy could be is Rimbor, so they head that way. Page 21.
Page 21. Chameleon Boy has a soliloquy here. He's talking about who might have been the person to frame Ultra Boy for this murder. And he knows it's another Legionnaire. Who the hell could it be?
He decides the answers aren't here. They never are, because computers are idiots. And this isn't a case for facts. This one is a matter of instinct.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't sound like very good policing to me.
When he says it's a Legionnaire, I guess that puts Marla out of it, because Marla's not a Legionnaire. Mm-hmm. Even though Marla is still acting suspicious, still wants to lock up Ultra Boy.
And this is all taking place in it's almost like a secret chamber within the ship that everyone else is on.
Yeah, he's hanging it down in the engine room, in this Wally-Wood looking engine room.
I'm not even sure the other guys know he's on board.
And in fact, it's weird that he is on board. I thought of this too, because he was just talking to Ultra Boy down on Rimbor in disguise as the couch. And they cut to this scene where the heroes in the rickety spaceship are going through that age-old docking maneuver with his other ship, and I don't know how Chameleon Boy got there, but he is there. He's on the same ship as the rest of them.
Because he has to be for the confrontation.
Right, he has a confrontation in a couple of pages. Wildfire has a bright idea that...
Uncharacteristically bright idea.
Mm-hmm. But he has the idea that Ultra Boy must be hiding out in a place that is invisible to Mon-El and Superboy, a lead-lined room. So he's like, well, just look for a fucking lead-lined room, you dumbasses.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, yeah, we never
lead-lined room on Rambor. How long would that take? Come on.
Yeah, I think it's funny. It's like, well, we might not be able to find him because he's probably in a lead-lined room. And they're like, well, then look where you can't see him in a lead-lined room. And they're like, oh, duh. Like these two dudes who are the best and brightest of superheroes with all the powers. I never thought of that.
Right.
Like the search by exclusion, I guess, or something like that.
Right.
But they find him.
I'm not sure that would really be easier, but it makes a certain amount of sense, I guess.
They spend hours searching the surface of Rimbor. I don't think Rimbor is a very small planet because it seems like it only encompasses one dive bar with a prostitute hotel and whatever the street that Ultra Boy grew up on, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Ultra Boy knows that they found him.
Either his penetravision doesn't follow the same rules. I guess that makes the most sense because he's somehow able to see out of the lead-lined room to see that they're seeing him, right?
Yeah, I think it's been established that he can see through lead. It's not the impediment that it is for those other dudes. But yeah, I don't know how he knows that they're looking for him or that they found him.
So I guess he's seeing the X-rays being shot down.
I guess so. X-ray? Yeah, whatever.
Or is he looking up at them looking? I guess I don't even know. Does X-ray vision literally X-ray vision? Like, are they projecting radiation out of their eyes and
I don't know.
Bouncing back?
I mean, they never seem to give anybody cancer that we know of. Like, does Lois have? Does Lois have like butt cancer?
I have made that joke before. I don't know if I've done that on here, but maybe I did.
Anyway, yeah, Ultra Boy does this crazy silent movie bullshit where he jumps through the floor and falls through all the floors of this apartment building he's hiding out in, down all the way into the sewer.
Silent movie bullshit. I think it's kind of cool, personally.
I think it would have been better if they hadn't been limited to just this narrow strip.
Right.
Like if they made it a little bit wider, it might have made more of an impact. This is it's too small it just looks like minute movies from the 30s in the newspapers or something. Like there's not enough there to put it across as anything other than like silly slapstick.
I guess it does kind of look like a film strip.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's intentional. That's just the lines and between the floorboards.
Right. Yeah, it does. But like they only gave themselves this like 1.5 inch wide space to put this thing over. When they could have taken over this thing where he's diving into the sewer, this panel, and made it a little bit more clear.
Right.
Because it's all monochrome, but whatever.
He's swimming through the sewer to escape.
It happens all the time where it's like, oh, we have to wade through the sewer and nobody seems to care.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's like swimming through the sewer and it's just painted this nice green color. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know, it's the ocean, but it's the sewer.
For all its seediness, Rimbor has a very clean sewage system.
Yeah, very nice and uniform colored sewer system. There's no chunks in there.
He's swimming through shit with his eyes wide open.
Do you think his penetravision can see through his own eyelids? Like he could close his eyes and be
Well,
able
I
to
don't
see?
know. I mean, does he have his flight ring right now?
He
I
does.
mean, how?
He got Sunboy's flight ring a little bit earlier.
Okay, so he doesn't have to use his flight power. So is he using his penetravision or his invulnerability in this sewage?
He's probably switching between each. He does that. He somehow knows how to do that. He'll use his penetravision for a second and then his invulnerability for a second, back and forth. So he's going to smell a little bit like sewage.
He laughs a bit when he emerges from the sewage, thinking that he's outsmarted the Legionnaires.
He's like, tough luck, Legionnaires. Oh.
Only to be ambushed by middle-aged Timberwolf with his receding hairline.
Yeah, Timberwolf totally inherited his mother's hairline.
Yes, not Wolverine's. This is the pre. He hasn't been neutered yet. He's still aggressive, talking about ripping out Ultra Boy's throat.
Yeah, he's still cool.
Kind of hard to imagine 80s Timberwolf saying something like that, or at least not getting laughed at after he says it.
Yeah, I liked you described him as like the dude who's a little bit older than the high school kids, and they all think that he's kind of cool, but then as time goes on, like they grow up and get a little more mature, and the Timberwolf guy stays the same, like Arrested Development loser.
Right.
This is the period where they're the high school kids and they still think he's kind of cool, and
the guy smokes, he's cool.
Yeah, he knows some shit that like.
Right.
Yeah. He's like spoken to a guy who sells pot and they never have. Right. He listens to the Chronic album and they won't do it.
He knows how to knock a girl out for 24 hours just by pinching her back.
Hey, Light Lass, I just want to try something. No, man, come on. Don't you love me? Don't you want to try something?
You're not knocking me out again. Motherfucker. Yeah, he gets punched so hard he's bent in half there. It looks.
Oh, right here? This one?
Backwards. Yep.
Some big sound effects on these. Actually, on both of these pages. There's a Katoom, a Karam, and a Kulthum. Kulthum is Colossal Boy punching out Ultra Boy. There's some insane foreshortening. Look how big this hand is.
I know.
This is pretty good.
It's a good hand.
Yeah. That's why you hired Jim Starlin as the foreshortening.
I don't know. I feel like maybe Walt Simonson might have helped him with it. I think weren't they in the studio together?
I don't know. Are they part of the tribe?
Yeah, there's like.
Are they part of the Burnt Toast Gang?
Was there a name? There was like 4 or 5 of them who were. Like Howard Chaykin, Walt Simonson. I thought Starlin might have been.
Wait, is there one called the Studio and then one called the Tribe, or is the Studio something else? Is the Studio some like Andy Warhol bullshit or something like that I'm thinking of?
I don't know if what I'm talking about had a name. Like I don't know if they called their crew anything in particular, but I think they were all studio mates.
Yeah,
and a lot of them were working. Like Larry Hama, I think, was part of this too. Mm-hmm. Like they were all like. Kind of disciples of Wally Wood and Neil Adams, Continuity Studios. Maybe there were a lot of them were working there.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think some of those dudes had like Bernie Wrightson, and I don't know if it was the Tribe or the Studio or the Crew or the Burnt Toast Gang or the Yancey Street Urchins or whatever the hell.
Right.
I guess this spread is just they're trying to beat the shit out of Ultra Boy. Nothing too exciting here. Mm-hmm. Oh, here's where he gets his flight ring. He didn't have it before when he was flying through the sewer. He gets it afterwards.
Oh, man.
So he drank all that sewage that he swam through.
Right. Gross. He's swimming with his eyes open, too.
Yeah. You know how when you throw up and it goes through your nose?
That's the worst.
That's like what Ultra Boy has.
Worst
it's
pain.
So gross. And it dries out.
Fucking burns.
So gross.
Somewhere in this, it's alluded that somehow his invulnerability protects him from something really outlandish that doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. I don't remember that.
I don't remember what it was, like telepathy or
our reading comprehension isn't that great when we read these old children's comics from 50 years ago. You can't blame us. Like, if we don't know who the leader of the Legion of Superheroes is in one comic book, who cares?
If you had any idea what time it was.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of people who watch our videos maybe don't realize that for me, like right now, it's 12:30 at night. And for you, it's even later than that.
Yes. 2:30, I think.
Plus, I drank a whole bottle of wine except for about a half inch left in the bottom of my glass.
Luckily, anyone listening never gets past the first 20 minutes. Everybody still sounds smart.
Well, if anybody's still watching this now, here's a tip. The end is the best part of all our videos. Like they start out, they sound kind of coherent, whatever. Mm-hmm. The funny shit, it's like when you watch Saturday Night Live and the last two sketches are the funniest ones. It's kind of like that.
what season
shaking your head? That never happens, huh? It's like when you watch the
leftover ones.
It's like when you watch the Mr. Show movie, and the funniest part is after the credits roll. There's a little bit after that. That's what ours are like.
Yes.
In the Mr. Show movie, like there's that character who he begins as the narrator. He's that guy.
Is it David Koechner?
Yeah,
Koechner?
That guy.
Yeah, that guy's pretty funny.
Because he begins as the narrator. He's like, let me tell you about my buddy Ronnie Dobbs. Like that, you know? And he sounds like a total hillbilly redneck.
Mm-hmm.
And then every time Ronnie Dobbs meets him, like he runs into his, hey, Clay, good to see you. Sorry about what happened with the police the other day. And he's like, no, that's all right. I was a little drunk too. It's kind of my fault. Right? And so every time he says that, he's like, first he's got a neck brace, and then he's got crutches, and he's got a broken leg, and then he's in a wheelchair. Mm-hmm. And then if you watch all the way to the end credits, this guy's also been narrating it through the whole movie. Like he shows up as the narrator. Mm-hmm. You watch the credits, and they have another scene, and it's like you're in like a lab, and it's kind of the slow truck into like a brain in a jar. And he's like, and that's the story of Ronnie Dobbs. He was a pretty good guy, blah, 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 right? And he's like, the thing that made me laugh is like, I'm so tired, but I can't sleep. And like every phrase he says, the brain kind of wobbles in the jar of moisture, whatever. And then like some like lab tech with a lab coat comes in. Mm-hmm. And you see him from the back, and they lift the lid off the top of the jar, and they dump a beer in there into the jar and put the lid back on. It's like, that's some good beer. It's so stupid. But that's what made me laugh. Like it's like out of a weird, like, you know, it's like out of The Incredible Shrinking Man or something, you know, like that kind of like you're like, I'm so tired, but I can't sleep. It's like, what's that? Remember that Metallica video where they use movie video from this old movie?
Oh my God.
The guy loses his arms and legs.
I saw that movie like on PBS when I was like 7.
It's called Johnny Get Your Gun, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I've never seen it. I've just seen the Metallica video. But it was like that. And I'm sure this thing where I can't sleep, but I'm so tired. It's like, it's in every brain in a jar kind of science fiction movie.
Right.
It made me laugh. It was so dumb. But that was the biggest laugh I got out of that whole movie.
It's pretty good. I think I probably turned it off before that.
Probably. Yeah. I bet not a lot of people saw that
I'm
part.
Sure it's on YouTube. I'll have to look at it. But anyway.
Ultra Boy punches out Sunboy and steals his flight ring so he can get away.
So then it's payback time. The super dummies managed to take Ultra Boy out in their second fight. There's some kind of slapsticky things going on, like Mon-El punches Ultra Boy into a building, And then the very next page, Superboy is in that building punching him back out.
Oh, is that what happens? They goofed. They didn't color the building the same color. But yeah, that makes sense. Here it's a yellow building, and then over here it's a gray building.
Right, and they team up and double punch him.
They double punch him, kapow! And he breaks the panel border even. Ultra Boy.
Yikes. So they take Ultra Boy back to headquarters for a special session, whatever that may be.
Imagine your coworkers round you up for a special session, and you have to wear this. Right. this thing with a helmet and shackles that keep your hands.
It's really cool looking, but it looks somewhere between like an old tube radio and some sort of S&M gear.
Yeah, like Man in the Iron Mask.
Yeah,
in the 31st century.
I think this is where the writing really seems to fall apart for me a little. See, Wildfire here says we should decide what to do with Ultra Boy as quickly as possible, so we can get this murderer turned over to the science police. I'm trying to figure out, like, what does that mean? Like, what are we going to figure out to do to him before we turn him in? Do they want to like get some licks in, beat him up, rough him up a little bit before they turn him in?
Yeah, they want to whip him a little bit.
He's already
before they turn him over to the science police.
Well,
that kind of makes sense. Like this Wildfire is kind of a persuasive, kind of a rabble rouser, I guess. Trying to get the Legion fired up to do something about Ultra Boy.
Well, yeah, but just like 2 pages ago, he's saying, I don't understand why you don't trust the courts. Like, just go through the legal system. And now he's like, they're trying to decide whether to turn him in or not, or do they want to take justice into their own hands? It doesn't quite add up to me. The other Legionnaires are arguing with him, saying he's being unfair. It's not their place to pass judgment. And like, well, yeah, of course. That's why you guys need to turn him in to be judged. Right.
But yeah, they've really fucked up Ultra Boy here with this weird prison.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to decide whether they should.
Yeah. Well, like you pointed out, I don't know if they're like Wildfire wants to like cut off his hands before they turn him over to the science police or something. Like, I thought Wildfire was cool, and he's actually kind of like
he's got a real stick up his ass on this one. Luckily, Chameleon Boy arrives just in time to save Ultra Boy from going to court.
I need Chameleon Boy. Every time I get like a jury duty summons, I could use a Chameleon Boy to show up and be like, David doesn't deserve this.
No, we shouldn't trust the legal process. We find out that there's an evil imposter, and it is Marla.
You think it's Marla?
No, wait, it's Wildfire.
Oh, fuck, it's Wildfire was the imposter.
It was all misdirection. It wasn't Marla.
But after all those awful things Marla did, getting plastic surgery and like younger and being a total Republican piece of shithead.
It was all misdirection. It was Wildfire all along.
Wildfire's like, let's beat the shit out of Ultra Boy before we give him to the science police.
The robot imposter is quickly dispatched, though they're careful to preserve his head. But how did Sherlock Chameleon Boy know it was Wildfire?
How did he know?
Elementary, my dear Starboy.
This is a very good question, Starboy.
He went through the computers that he doesn't trust, and he checked all their personality profiles to see if anyone had changed within the last week. Well, guess what? No one did. No one's personality changed. But never mind. Fuck computers. He trusts his gut, and his gut says he was definitely a Legionnaire. So it can only be one Legionnaire, Wildfire, who doesn't have a body. Because without a body, how are you going to notice a change in his personality?
Wait a minute. Just because you don't have a body means you don't have a person.
Right. Apparently, your personality cannot be evaluated.
Like a personality. I mean, I don't know. Whatever, Chameleon Boy.
Yeah, this is four-dimensional chess.
This
You don't understand the ways of the super sleuth.
I mean, he's keeping track of all our personalities.
Somehow they're apparently on file. They have personality profiles, and they are somehow they're updated because he was checking them from week to week to see if any of them changed.
Right, every week.
Right. But somehow, by process of elimination, he's decided it must be the bodiless one whose personality has changed. So I'm not entirely sure how that works. Maybe.
Yeah, somehow your body dictates how your personality
I guess
behaves.
maybe if we're being charitable, they're getting like brain scans.
If you have no body, then if you don't have a body, then the brain or the personality attached to
like they can't give him a CAT scan, I guess. So maybe there's
what do you like? Okay, every character has a personality,
except for Wildfire.
But every character doesn't have to. Every character doesn't have to have a body, but they do have personality. And so his little personality registration thing, it only counts the people with bodies, and none of those people changed. And so, it could only be the personality that has no body is the one that changed, and that's Wildfire. Right. Perfect sense. It's so logical.
Indeed.
It's like Mr. Spock over here with the pointy ears.
And then Superboy, with the super hearing, could hear the gears turning inside the robot. So that's how they confirmed that he was a robot. He then realizes or locates the real Wildfire, who's apparently detained in his room, trapped in there. It doesn't seem like he made any effort to free him, though. Apparently, he's still trapped there.
Well, yeah, how long did he know that Wildfire was a prisoner in his own quarters?
He never shows.
And he didn't do anything?
He never appears in this issue, the real one. So he just left him there. Probably could have helped him, confront the fake Wildfire. Probably would have helped his case there.
Oh, he knows that hot-headed Wildfire would just come out of there and incinerate the fake Wildfire, destroy all the evidence. We'd never know who framed Ultra Boy, which we don't for like 10 months anyway, but we would never find out.
After this realization, Chameleon Boy says, "We need to find the man behind the machine before he destroys us all." Mono wants to know who it is, because they have to find him before he destroys them all. Chameleon Boy says he can't tell him. He can't. He's got to keep it until he can prove something. He can't say anything. We've got to find this guy right now, but I can't tell you who it is. So I know.
That really sounds like the author of this tale doesn't know what the fuck. I like this part on page 33 where Ultra Boy kind of tells off Marla. Marla's kind of apologizing.
Trying to do what was honorable.
I only did what I thought was honorable, Ultra Boy. I hope you understand.
Get fucked.
Don't you have to go talk to the science police or something? Don't you have some fascists to go hang out with, Marla? Fuck you. And that's the last we see of Marla, I guess. He's like, all right, I'll go kiss the ass. I'll go lick the ass of Chief Zendak if that's what'll make you feel better. Have fun being a criminal, Ultra Boy. Hanging out with your criminal friends. Reading books about transgender people or whatever you do. That's what Marla thinks, because he's some old stick up his ass Republican piece of shit. Wow, you and I and everyone else who knows that it's cool to be gay and
Yes.
transgender. Even to be straight, it's kind of okay. It's
Sure.
fine. No, nothing against anybody at
No,
all.
it's
But these old times, these fuckers, like,
live and let live.
exactly. Golden
Yeah.
rule, right? Did you forget that, Marla? Golden rule? It's like you told us all about that when we were kids and you forgot about it when you're 70 years old and getting plastic surgery to look younger, you stupid piece of human
Betraying
waste,
your own
garbage wreckage.
protege.
Yeah, threw your protege under the bus.
Really?
Sold him down the river.
Man. Yeah, it almost seems like Ultra Boy should have ripped that costume off because Marla's the older guy, so it kind of seems like maybe Ultra Boy's costume is modeled off his. Especially since he's like his
Right, yeah, you should
student.
get rid of
He's
that.
like, here's a modified version of my uniform.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if like my mentor and my teacher threw me into the bus
Right.
like that, I would tear off my insignia and throw it in the trash. I would spit on it.
Yep. And so we wrap this issue up with our mysterious evil legionnaire, turncoat legionnaire, watching Ultra Boy and Phantom Girl make out on a spy screen. Masked the entire time, of course, even though we're guessing, trying to blend in with the other legionnaires. He's wearing a hooded costume.
In this last caption, they call him the man behind the executioner's hood. So I guess this is an executioner's hood. He tears it off and drops it on the floor by the end of this issue, but he's got his eyes on everything, including Ultra Boy and Phantom Girl in a love embrace.
Well, wait, do they not know at this point that it is a legionnaire?
I think Chameleon Boy knows it's a legionnaire. I think he said it a little bit earlier. Chameleon Boy knows that Ultra Boy was framed, and he was framed by a legionnaire, the smartest, most powerful legionnaire, I think is what he says. Who could that be? Who would do such a thing?
Douchebag.
The reader knows Ultra Boy didn't murder Anne Ride. They showed us that.
Right. And we know it wasn't the Wildfire robot.
Wildfire was a robot the whole time. He couldn't have done it.
He was with them.
Or
we're looking for the man behind the machine.
Right, the man in the executioner's mask.
But since we know he's a legionnaire, presumably he's among the other legionnaires. He's not Tenzel Kim off, no longer with the team. This isn't Bouncing Boy. It's someone within their midst, probably in the headquarters even. So what's he doing walking around dressed up like a bad guy?
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird that he would be in a place secluded from the other legionnaires in a stupid costume with a stupid
Maybe he
mask
gets into
on.
character, like when no one's around, he pulls it out, like puts it on.
You ever do that? You ever like put on your costume? Like you get mad.
Yeah, every morning right before I go to work.
Right. You're like, I'm going to tell off the boss today. And you put on a special sweatshirt and a special mask. And you're like, this is what I would do. I'd be like, boss, fuck you. I'll quit. You can't treat me like that. I'm out of here. I'm going to destroy the entire universe, including
That's
you.
That's about right. Only it's sort of the inverse for me. That's who I really am. And then I put on the mask with the smile on it. And like, hi, boss. I'm so glad to be here.
You put on a t-shirt and a ball cap, and you're like, hey, hello.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. I respect you all.
Well, if you want to know who the man behind the executioner's mask is, all you got to do is watch our other video where we explain part 2 of this comic book will reveal all the secrets. I think we should leave it mysterious for
Right.
now and not say that this is. Oh, I almost said it. I almost
Shut your
explained.
mouth.
I don't know. We'll never know, maybe, who this villain is. It's another Legionnaire. That's Superboy 239.
LOL. Or no.
You keep doing that. LOL.